Good afternoon. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start our awards program today. My name is Christy Crisp. I am the Marilyn Memory McMullen Director of Programs for the Georgia Historical Society, but for the last few years I've also had the great pleasure of being the chair of the AASLH Leadership in History Awards program. And we are so excited to have everybody in the room today to share in our celebration of our award winners. On behalf of the awards committee, welcome and congratulations to our award winners. We're thrilled that so many of you could be a part of the program today and share in this celebration. Since we are live streaming the event, I also want to welcome those joining us remotely, which could include some of our award winners who are not able to be here with us today. So we will be announcing all of the awards, regardless of whether or not there's someone actually here to accept one of those awards. There's more about the awards program in the back of your conference program, and I invite you to review that information and explore the AASLH website to learn more about how you can participate in one of AASLH's oldest programs, now over 75 years old. But now, awards. The awards we celebrate today represent the very best in the field of state and local history. To our award winners, thank you. Your work is inspiring to all of us here to support you today. Thank you to the nationwide review team that works so hard. Thank you to the AASLH staff, particularly Bethany Hawkins and Asia Bain, whose guidance and support make this program possible. And thanks to all of you for attending this luncheon, for supporting the work of your peers, and for your own work to strive for excellence in your organizations and your communities. The awards process isn't easy. Putting together a nomination takes time, above and beyond the already tremendous effort of doing award-winning work. If you've been an award nominee, you know that the requirements are rigorous. If you're on the amazing team of volunteers across the country that facilitate the nomination and review process, you know that identifying, cultivating, and shepherding nominations through the process is hard work. And for the regional representatives that meet annually together to make decisions on the award winners, the thoughtful review of all submissions is tough, and decisions are very rarely easy. But that's why we do this. That's why all of us do this. Because we care about the work, because we care about the field, and we care about our communities. So thank you, all of you, for doing the work, for sharing it with us, and for being here today to support your friends and your peers. I'd now like to reintroduce Bert Logan to present the Award of Distinction today.
Thank you, Christy. As chair of the AASLH Council, it is my pleasure this afternoon to present the Award of Distinction. This award is bestowed infrequently and only in recognition of long and very distinguished service. Recipients are noted for their contributions to the field of state and local history and are recognized nationally as leaders in the profession. Past awardees include Lonnie Bunch, Denny O'Toole, Sandra Clark, Carol Kamen, Robert Richmond, and John and Anita Durrell, among others. If you were with us yesterday during the general session, you saw us present this award to Cinnamon Cautman Legato. This year, the AASLH Council was so impressed by the nominations we received, we voted to present 2 of these awards during the 2023 Annual Conference. It is fitting that we present the Award of Distinction to Janet Gallimore while we are in Boise. She is the Executive Director of the Idaho State Historical Society and has made an indelible mark on this city and state by leading the renovation of the Idaho State Capitol, the Idaho Territorial Sesquicentennial, and the Idaho State Museum expansion and reimagining. She's an inspirational leader for the Idaho State Historical Society, where she directs a dynamic state agency comprised of the Idaho State Museum, the Idaho State Archives and State Records Center, the State Historic Preservation Office, and the Historic Sites Program. Across her career, her work demonstrates a commitment to inclusive history, reflected currently and distinctly in the visitor experience in co-curated exhibitions at the Idaho State Museum. As her former colleague Keith Peterson wrote in his letter of support for her nomination, Jan believes that history is relevant and necessary, and that people in the profession should always be looking for new ways to bring history, accurate and challenging history, to the public. Her work and commitment to relevant history extend past the borders of Idaho. She championed the History Relevance Initiative, advancing history as essential and raising the profile of history in national dialogue. She was a primary author of the Value of History Statement, which anchored the History Relevance Initiative and has been endorsed by hundreds of history organizations across the United States. But more importantly, she activated those values through her work years before the statement was created. Her efforts to represent and encourage professional best practices also have found expression as a longtime AAM accreditation peer reviewer, a member of the AASLH Council, a leader within the State Historical Administrators Meeting, and now as host of the 2023 Annual Conference in Boise. Her role as a champion of history at the county, state, and national levels has impacted countless public history professionals around the country. Jamie Boskett, president and CEO of the Virginia Museum of History and Culture, wrote, "Jan is ever present, giving so much of herself and with such consistency. She is a guiding star among her peers. Jan has an inherent skill to mentor others and enthusiastically offers her experience and expertise to great effect." So please join me in honoring Janet Gallimore with the 2023 AASLH Award of Distinction. Jan?
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Bert. Thank you, Christy. And thanks to everyone in this room. Those were very kind words of introduction. And I was just whispering to Bert, I thought I wasn't going to cry, but I can't guarantee it. So I'm beyond honored to receive this award of distinction. I find it the culmination of a lifelong career in this work that we all love in cultural resource management. Some of the values that I think have guided me across this journey are commitment and courage, communication, competence, but I think most of all, a focus on community. In 2002, while a county agency director, I served as a steering committee member on a national initiative and participated in a conversation and a call to action about how we could all best inspire public participation in our work to create more value for our field and to engage our communities in our work. You might all remember this. It was called the Museums and Community Initiative. At the end of one of the workshops, we were all asked to create a metric for how our profession would measure our future success in creating authentic community bonds. My quote was selected, and it is featured in the foreword of the AAM book, Mastering Civic Engagement, A Challenge to Museums. My words were, We have learned how to listen, we have become agents of dialogue, and we have lifted the human spirit. The commitment to community and giving agency to community voice has been part of my personal DNA across many opportunities to listen to and work with people to realize facilities and programs and legacies that express the cultural tapestry that makes our country rich with meaning. In Lake County, Illinois, the Greenbelt Cultural Center brings people, art, and nature together in the heart of the African American community. Along the Columbia River, the Confluence Project connects people to the history, living cultures, and ecology of the Columbia River system through Indigenous voices. Community engagement is an anchor commitment of the Idaho State Historical Society, where I've served since 2007. It drives many of our initiatives, programs, and services as illuminated by our Idaho State Museum. I hope you all loved being there last night. For those who attended, please go if you haven't had a chance. In its making, we engaged over 100 scholars across our state, subject matter specialists, not only in history, but across all disciplines, community leaders, educators. We co-created that tribal content with Idaho's 5 federally recognized tribes, and we conducted focus groups and statewide conversations to ensure that our museum would resonate with people and, yes, lift spirits across our great state. Community is also our history profession, where we've gathered together and across time have advanced significant change, emphasizing inclusivity, building data and language that informs our practice, and communicates how history can advance a more civil society through learning and dialogue. I'm very privileged on this journey to have served our profession on the boards of the Association of Midwest Museums, the National Conference of State Historic Preservation Officers, and of course, AASLH. There are many people to thank. AAM championed the concept that museums must combine a tradition of intellectual rigor with inclusion and a broader spectrum of our diverse society. Our History Relevance Initiative and state historical administrators trailblazed for nearly 10 years, mobilizing our field and raising history's profile in our country, in the community, in our local funders, in state houses, in county communities, a really extensive effort. I want to give AASLH special thanks for carrying forward and amplifying that History Relevance Initiative work for all of us and really benefiting our field through reframing history and other tools that ensure the upcoming semi-quincentenary of our country will be a source of inspiration, learning, connection, and pride for all Americans. I am grateful for the opportunity to work with a remarkable staff and volunteer corps, many of whom are in the audience, an amazing board of trustees who represent our great state, the Foundation for Idaho History, the Idaho Legislature, and of course our Governor and First Lady to realize the mission of our agency, which dates to 1881. Thank you to all of our colleagues here. I am so blessed that you're in the audience to share this experience with me today. Thank you to Liz Hobson for nominating me, and to my amazing colleagues across the country for your inspiring letters of attestation. They were so heartfelt, and when I think about it too hard, it'll make me cry. So thank you for that amazing, amazing series of letters. And of course, to Bill Barron, my husband, for a lifetime of encouragement and support. I am so grateful to the awards committee and ASLH for this honor. And this is, of course, I think all of us in this room, we all follow in the footsteps of those who came before us. And I am so humbled to join all of our esteemed colleagues who've received this award, established in 1963. Thank you to all of you for your service to our field. It is a great family and a great privilege to serve with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, Jan. Okay, now a couple of housekeeping items for the awards presentations. We will present the awards alphabetically by state within the 14 regions. So the awards program is divided up into 14 regions, and though each region with its included states will be identified on the screen. So award winners, when you see your region appear on the screen, please make your way to the right side of the room and join the queue to come up onto the stage. We'll have several of our regional award representatives on hand to assist you with this. And as I reference your award, please just come up, cross the stage behind me, over to John and Bert over here. Pause for just a second to take a quick photo, and then continue across and back to your seat. And we'll send you those photos in the coming weeks. So that's how we're going to do this. So let's get to it. We will start with the Awards of Excellence from Region 1, which includes Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Vermont. So if you are representing those states, you can go ahead and make your way over to the stage. We will start with the Forbes Museum in Milton, Massachusetts for Opium, the Business of Addiction. This groundbreaking historic house exhibit asks provocative questions about wealth and exploitation by exploring the Ford family's fortune built on the opium trade and making connections to the current opioid epidemic. Like I said, we're going to announce all of the award winners, whether or not they are here. So we'll give them, because they may be listening remotely, we'll give them a quick round of applause for each of those awards. But next, we'll move on to the Marblehead Museum and Historical Society in Marblehead, Massachusetts for the Diverse History of Marblehead, a research and dissemination project. This multifaceted project included online resources and public programs dedicated to studying and sharing the untold stories of Black, Indigenous, and people of color who lived and worked in what is now Marblehead. Next, to the Massachusetts Historical Society in Boston, Massachusetts for Disability and the American Past. Through panel conversations, presentations, workshops, and discussion, this project introduces the field of disability history and investigates major research areas in the field, such as activism, material culture, medical history, technology, and citizenship. To the Worcester Historical Museum in Worcester, Massachusetts, for Pretty Powerful, 100 Years of Voting and Style. This exhibit told the stories of women's activism, empowerment, and struggle over the past century through 36 outfits and accessories documenting themes of work, politics, and self-expression from their global, local community. Next, Alan Rumrell of Keene, New Hampshire, is receiving an award in the category of Individual Lifetime Achievement for serving over 40 years as Executive Director of the Cheshire County Historical Society, helping people to connect with their local history stories. Congratulations. Thank you, and congratulations. Next, to Historic New England for More Than a Market, Food, Community, and Family in the markets of Burlington and Winooski, Vermont. This exhibit celebrates the history of local immigrant-owned markets and their central place as community hubs and places for connection and support. Congratulations. Next, we move to Region 2, which includes Connecticut, New Jersey, New York, and Rhode Island. And we'll begin with Catherine Keene Fields for a career dedicated to the development and success of the Litchfield Historical Society in Litchfield, Connecticut. Next, Bristol Historical and Preservation Society of Bristol, Rhode Island, for the Timeline of Enslavement in Bristol, Rhode Island, a research project and installation documenting the existence of nearly 500 people enslaved in Bristol between 1680 and 1808, restoring their stories to the landscape and to scholarship on Northern slavery. Congratulations. Next to Region 3, which includes Delaware, Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Pennsylvania. We'll start with the Beaver Area Heritage Foundation in Beaver, Pennsylvania, for Matthew Stanley Quay, Saint or Sinner? You decide. This unique exhibit explored the life and legacy of a 19th century Pennsylvania senator and chairman of the Republican National Committee through artifacts, political cartoons, and primary sources, and provided the opportunity for visitors to cast a ballot for his eventual judgment. Verdict? Sinner. To the Fairmount Waterworks Interpretive Center in Philadelphia for Pool, A Social History of Segregation. This exhibit investigates the nation's handling of race as it relates specifically to public pools and how discrimination and loss of funds for public pools has affected the Black community and water safety for generations. The next award goes to West Overton Village and Museums in Scottsdale, Pennsylvania, for Forging Ahead and Falling Behind, Industrial Growth in a Rural Community. This immersive exhibit explores transformations in agriculture, industry, and labor through stories of individual workers at West Overton, which changed from a village to an industrial powerhouse during the 19th century. Next, we move to Region 4, Alabama, Florida, and Georgia. First, for individual lifetime achievement, Priscilla Hancock Cooper, for serving as a tireless leader in the field of history in Alabama and ensuring that the state's vibrant Black community is not relegated to the margins of history or lost to time. Next, to the Coffee County Historical Society and the Coffee County Memory Project in Douglas, Georgia, for Overcoming Segregation, a journey through Coffee County's forgotten stories. Spanning 1965 to 1972, this virtual exhibition chronicles the intertwined but vastly different experiences of those affected by federally mandated school desegregation through a 21-stop community walking tour and digital resources. Next, to Region 5, which includes Kentucky, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, and West Virginia. First, to the Greensboro History Museum for North Carolina Democracy, 11 Elections. This exhibit explores choices and change across 11 elections between 1776 and 2010 and illustrates the twists and turns of who could participate, how voters cast their ballots, and what influenced the decisions that continue to shape what democracy means today. To Culture and Heritage Museums of York County in McConnell, South Carolina, for Liberty and Resistance, Reconstruction, and the African American Community at Brattonsville, 1865 to 1877. Expanding historic Brattonsville's Interpretation beyond the Revolutionary and antebellum periods, this exhibit details the Reconstruction era and the fight for the newly recognized rights of African Americans. The next award goes to the Council on Library and Information Resources of Alexandria, Virginia for Material Memory, HBCU Library Alliance Tour. This podcast season highlights the significance of the collections of historically Black colleges and universities and their impact on communities. Over 8 compelling episodes, thought-provoking conversations delve into questions of history, identity, and the role of cultural heritage institutions in preserving Black culture. Next, to the Virginia Museum of History and Culture in Richmond for the museum's 2022 reopening. The most extensive transformation in the institution's nearly 200-year history, this renovation and expansion is designed to welcome, inform, and reflect the institution's audiences, inviting participation and meaningful dialogue. We skipped Florida. I say nothing. I say nothing. The Orange County Regional History Center. I'm sorry, I don't have the... Is there anyone from the Orange County Regional History Center here? I apologize. Congratulations to them. No comments about Florida. Okay, so next we're going to move on to Region 6, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio. The next award goes to the Cahokia Mounds Museum Society in Collinsville, Illinois for Back to the City of the Sun, an augmented reality experience. This app brings the past to the present with audio and video elements that transport visitors back in time to visualize Cahokia and its vanished structures at the city's height 1,000 years ago. Next, Naperville Heritage Society, Naperville Settlement in Illinois for Unvarnished, Housing Discrimination in the Northern and Western United States. This free online exhibit growing out of an expansive, multi-year, multi-part project examines the history of residential segregation in America by spotlighting 6 communities from California to Connecticut and placing their histories within a national context. Congratulations. Next, to the Salvation Army Central Territory Museum in Hoffman Estates, Illinois, for Perspectives. This exhibit encourages visitors to examine different beliefs, thoughts, and feelings through the stories of dozens of Salvation Army officers, soldiers, and employees, and to reflect on the impact of Salvation Army Corps in disadvantaged neighborhoods. Congratulations. Next, we move on to Region 7, which includes Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Tennessee. First, the Historic New Orleans Collection and Tennessee Williams Theater Company for The 6 Blanches. This immersive experience celebrating the 75th anniversary of the iconic play A Streetcar Named Desire allows visitors to explore the complex character of Blanche Dubois through the themes of grief, magic, tenderness, panic, desire, and fantasy, through 6 actors portraying these facets. Congratulations. Next, to Region 8, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Texas. To the Claremont Museum of History in the Claremore Museum of History in Claremore, Oklahoma, for the Lynn Riggs Gallery. This unique collection of art and artifacts chronicles the work of the local author and playwright whose play became the iconic musical Oklahoma, as well as his life as a gay man in Santa Fe, Los Angeles, and New York in the early 20th century. To the First Americans Museum in Oklahoma City for Winneco, Life of an Object, with an all-native curatorial team collaborating with Oklahoma's 39 tribes. This groundbreaking exhibit reunites objects collected and displayed at other institutions long ago with their indigenous relatives, cultures, and context. Congratulations. Next, to the Dr. Pepper Museum of Waco, Texas, for Sit Down to Take a Stand, Waco Lunch Counter Exhibition and Soda Fountain Redesign. This exhibit discusses soda fountains as contested spaces during the Civil Rights Movement and the brave actions of Waco protesters that resulted in the 1961 integration of lunch counters. Congratulations. The next award goes to Irving Archives and Museum and the Irving Black Arts Council of Irving, Texas, for the local Green Book project. This partnership built upon a traveling Smithsonian exhibit to bring local history connections to the national story of traveling in Jim Crow America, highlighting the success of Black entrepreneurs and centering Black voices as they interpreted this contentious period to the partners' different audiences. Congratulations. Next, to Region 9, Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. First, the Lynn County Historical Society of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, for Oral Histories Live. This program captures the stories and histories of those who have led impactful lives or been involved in key events in the history of Lynn County, with a live audience to help ask the questions and guide the discussion. Congratulations. To the Historical and Cultural Society of Clay County of Moorhead, Minnesota, for Daring to Dream, the Yimkos Saga. This inspiring exhibit tells the epic story of the historic 1982 voyage of a replica Viking ship from Duluth, Minnesota to Bergen, Norway, broadening local immigration history beyond the Scandinavian majority and inviting visitors to share their own big dreams during their visit to the exhibit. To the Minnesota Historical Society and Twin Cities Pride for Twin Cities LGBTQ+ History Tours. This collaborative project produced an interactive, self-guided digital tour highlighting 58 important LGBTQ+ places, people, and events in Minneapolis and St. Paul, restoring these stories to the historic landscape in a highly accessible way. Congratulations. Next, to Region 10, Kansas, Missouri, and Nebraska. First, Humanities Kansas in Topeka for the Kansas 1972 podcast. This 50th anniversary podcast connects national and global events from the early 1970s to local and regional Kansas history through pairings like exploring the emerging national environmental movement and the creation of a tallgrass prairie preserve. Congratulations. To the Missouri Historical Society for that St. Louis Sound. This exhibit assembled more St. Louis popular music history in one place than ever before, celebrating and amplifying 150 years of incredible music and proving that St. Louis is as vital to the nation's soundtrack as Chicago, Memphis, or New Orleans. Next, Region 11, Colorado, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, and Wyoming. First, to History, Colorado, in Denver, for the Sand Creek Massacre, the betrayal that changed Cheyenne and Arapaho people forever. This powerful exhibit, created over 10 years in consultation with tribal representatives, explores the deadliest day in Colorado history, when an 1864 assault by U.S. troops killed more than 230 Cheyenne and Arapaho people, wiped out their tribal leadership, and resulted in their forced expulsion from their homelands forever. Congratulations. To the Montana Historical Society in Helena for Montana, A History of Our Home. Responding to new fourth grade social studies standards, this project created a history textbook that covers state history from 13,000 years ago to the present, integrating Native American history and culture throughout and bringing inclusive resources and leadership to the education community. Congratulations. To the State Historical Society of North Dakota in Bismarck for Fashion and Function, North Dakota Style. This exhibition of more than 400 clothing items and its supplemental programs educated viewers about how the state has been shaped by people's resourcefulness, grit, ethnic and religious traditions, high fashion occupations, and changing social fields. Congratulations. To the Journey Museum and Learning Center in Rapid City, South Dakota, for the 50th commemoration of the 1972 Black Hills flood. This week-long commemoration included presentations, an exhibit opening, a luncheon for survivors, and more, sharing memories and ongoing research on this tragic event that took more than 230 lives in just 12 hours. Congratulations. To the American Heritage Center at the University of Wyoming in Laramie for the Wyoming tour of the play, A Sissy in Wyoming. Based on the remarkable life of Wyoming educator, activist, and crossdresser Larry Sissy Goodwin, this play celebrates LGBTQ+ history, especially that of the rural West, and toured 9 Wyoming cities with its message of diversity and tolerance in a changing region. Congratulations. Next, Region 12, Alaska, Idaho, Oregon, and Washington. First, the NN Cannery Project team for the NN Cannery History Project in South Naknek, Alaska. This multifaceted project obtained National Register listing for the historic NN Cannery, created an oral history archive of cannery workers, produced an exhibit at the State Museum, and developed a digital storytelling workshop with local schools to preserve the story of this essential local industry. Congratulations. And to Alaska's Wrangell History Unlocked for Wrangell History Unlocked, The Rise and Fall of the Star of Bengal, a podcast that explores the 1908 wreck of the Star of Bengal ship off Coronation Island, which sent 111 men, primarily Asian cannery workers, to their death. The podcast includes a focus on the competing narratives associated with the ship's final voyage to challenge legends and assumptions about the tragedy. Congratulations. Our next award goes to Boise's own Dr. Mamie Oliver for foundational contributions to the understanding of Black history in Idaho. Social worker, educator, minister, psychotherapist, author, and local historian, Dr. Oliver's 40 years of interdisciplinary work has bridged significant gaps in the scholarship and understanding of the diverse populations that built Idaho. Congratulations. Our next award goes to Idaho State Historical Society for the Idaho Women's Suffrage Centennial Commemorative Sculpture. The ISHS and Idaho Women in Leadership led this statewide effort to engage government entities, universities, organizations, and individuals to honor Idaho women's courageous past and to shape the future of women's leadership in Idaho with emphasis on government, business, and education. The result, a powerful sculpture displayed today on the Capitol grounds. Congratulations. Next, Minidoka National Historic Site for 80 Years of Reckoning, the Lessons and Legacy of Minidoka. This public program gathered Minidoka survivors and descendants, National Park Service staff, and the former Chief Justice of the Idaho Supreme Court for an event to honor the lives of the Minidoka survivors, recognize the threats against the historic fabric of the site, and address racist, anti-Asian rhetoric in America today. Congratulations. To the University of Idaho Black History Research Lab for Black History Research Lab at the University of Idaho. This institution, formed in the fall of 2021, is a multidisciplinary effort and acts as a hub for research, interpretation, and discussion about Black experiences at the university. Congratulations. To Vanport Mosaic in Portland, Oregon, for The Spirit of Vanport. This multimedia installation tells the story of the forgotten, multiracial, working-class community that formed in the temporary city between Vancouver and Portland during World War II to support the Portland shipyards. The project restored the story of the community destroyed in 1948 back into the contemporary landscape. Congratulations. Our next award goes to the Harbor History Museum of Gig Harbor, Washington for the HHM Shenandoah Project. This project preserved and exhibited one of the last remaining wooden fishing vessels built and fished out of Gig Harbor, creating a unique, immersive experience for museum visitors to learn about immigration, industry, and natural resource management. Moving on to Region 13, which is California and Hawaii. The next award goes to the Barona Cultural Center and Museum and Split Rock Studios in Lakeside, California for the exhibit Naiwa, Ishio Ochiop, Our Way of Knowing. Drawing on the expertise of community elders and ethnographic records, this project reconstructed the Native nation's origin story, lost and disconnected over centuries of colonization, genocide, and assimilation. Congratulations. Next, to the California African American Museum in Los Angeles for Rites and Rituals, the Making of African American Debutante Culture. This exhibit highlights the history and achievements of Los Angeles Black debutante organizations and deb culture from the 1880s to the 1960s, revealing their social and political impact in the civil rights movement and the complexity of racial representation. Congratulations. To the Center for Sacramento History for Unlocking the Past, a History of Prejudice and Racism in Sacramento. This project created a series of short videos that provide historical context for racism in the community, examining discrimination while acknowledging its long-term effects on the community. Congratulations. Next, to the Healdsburg Museum and Historical Society in California for From Diggers Bend to River Rock, Dry Creek Rancheria, People and History. This project represents the first collaboration between the museum and the Dry Creek Rancheria Band of Pomo Indians, who worked together to create an exhibit and programs focusing on Native American history and culture. Congratulations. Next, the Italian American Museum of Los Angeles for Woven Lives, Exploring Women's Needlework from the Italian Diaspora. This exhibit examined the significance of needlework in the everyday lives of Italian American women, their families, and their communities, a woman-constructed past that has often been excluded from the historical record. And finally, from Region 14, Arizona, Nevada, and Utah. All right. To the Tempe History Museum for Guadalupe, where three cultures flourish. This exhibit explores the town of Guadalupe and the histories of the three populations who call it home: the Native American founders, the Mexican settlers, and Catholic and Presbyterian missionaries who served and supported the community. Congratulations. Next, to Utah Humanities for Think Water Utah. This statewide collaboration and conversation on the critical topic of water created exhibits, programs, and a publication to help organizations across the state understand and interpret the history of water and its management from prehistory to the present. Congratulations. Next, we have our publication category. Our first publication award for large press goes to Here and Everywhere Else, Small Town Maine and the World, by Andrew Whitmer from the University of Massachusetts Press. This micro-history sheds light on 2 centuries of change in rural America by exploring the shifting relationship between the small Maine town of Monson and the wider world. Next, our publication award for small press. Following the Faith, a bicentennial history of First Presbyterian Church, Clarksville, 1822 to 2022, by First Presbyterian Church, Clarksville, Tennessee. This book covers the large and small stories of First Presbyterian as both a light in their community and a perpetrator of historic wrongs through an honest and unprecedented examination of their people and policies over the past 2 centuries. I'm going to run back to the Orange County Regional History Center. To the Orange County Regional History Center for Figurehead, Music and Mayhem in Orlando's Underground. Utilizing their extensive archival resources, the Orange County Regional History Center's dynamic exhibit looked at Orlando's music scene, the late 1980s and 90s, told through the lens of promoter Figurehead. It provided a glimpse into what made this time in Orlando area so memorable, capturing the unique energy of the area. Congratulations, Orlando County Regional History Center. And apologies for missing it in my notes earlier. Our next awards this afternoon are extra special. They are chosen by our awards committee from among the Awards of Excellence winners. And first, we have our History in Progress Awards. These represent those projects fewer than 5% of the total awards in this cycle. And they really are the very best of innovation, courage, and impact. Our first History in Progress Award this year goes to History Colorado in Denver for the Sand Creek Massacre, the betrayal that changed Cheyenne and Arapaho people forever. This project worked to repair relationships and trust between the museum and tribes, foregrounded the voices of Native people in this tragedy, and shared the experiences and enduring cultures of the state's original land keepers. Congratulations. Next, the Barona Cultural Center and Museum and Split Rock Studios in Lakeside, California for the exhibit Nawap Ishio Uchiop, Our Way of Knowing. This project shares the reconstructed Kumai's creation story through an immersive, multi-sensory exhibit and has built community in the nation, reinforced Barona connections to the land, and reached new generations of Barona children and non-native visitors with the strength and vibrancy of their culture. Congratulations. Our final History in Progress Award this afternoon goes to the First Americans Museum in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, for the exhibit Winneco, Life of an Object. This project reunited each object with its indigenous name and with its cultural relatives, ambitiously seeking descendants of the maker or owner. The gallery presents the objects within a space guided by indigenous ethos and aesthetics, providing a centralized space to interrogate what happens when these objects are removed from tribal communities and placed in outside institutions. Congratulations. Our final award this afternoon is the Albert B. Corey Award, which is presented to an organization that is all volunteer-led. This award also carries a cash prize. And we are sorry that the representatives of the Harrison Township Historical Society in Mullica Hill, New Jersey, can't be with us today due to travel issues on the way across the country, but Sarah Curitin will accept on their behalf for the project Tornado, a rapid response project. This exhibition and oral history project documented the impact of a devastating EF3 tornado in 2021 on the small community of Mullica Hill, preserving memories of this watershed event and helping the community process the trauma and shock of the disaster. Through powerful images, moving interviews, and accessible exhibition techniques, the organization put together an incredible exhibit that shared the experiences of local citizens and the process of rebuilding a community. The awards committee was tremendously impressed by this project's rapid development, attention to best practices, and impact as a key component of the healing process for this community. The Tornado Project is a great example of a history organization serving its community by both preserving contemporary history and responding to the need for connection and hope in a difficult time. Congratulations. And those are our award winners today. Please join me in a final round of applause for all of our winners. Thank you all so much for being here this afternoon and sharing this with us today. And remember, award nominations are due March 1st, 2024. Thank you.
Before you leave, we would be remiss if we did not thank Christy Crisp for her service as National Awards Chair. She is at the end of her term, and Christy, we thank you so much for your love for the awards program and for shepherding it through some difficult years with COVID. So thank you, Christy. And if you have an award, we have boxes and envelopes for you up here that you can get that home safely. So thank you. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you for this save.